Hey, welcome to Musings episode number 337. Scott's probably on a phone call, so he'll be joining us shortly here. So I'm going to get us started. Today's show is sponsored by Loringer Family Chiropractic Center, PC, located in Belleville, Michigan and Dexter, Michigan. They take great pride in providing the finest chiropractic care to each and every patient, offering on-site digital x-rays, orthotics by foot levelers, young living oils, aromatherapy, full line of vitamins, all in a family-oriented environment. Give them a call, 734-697-4244. You can find them on Facebook here. That's at Loringer Family Chiropractic Center, PC. We call, like, and message them from there and check out some of the services they offer. Currently, though, I believe the massage therapy is not going on, but that may change down in the future there. And then we are also got Scott joining us.
Hey, how are you?
Also sponsored by his
Team Titan. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I'm out of sync. Team Titans of Real Estate. Why? Because you matter. That's right. Even though we utilize the latest in tools and technology to maximize your own buying and selling experience, we never forget that at its core, it's a people business. That's right. We treat you like a human being. Go figure. I'm just like on all endorphins right now, going crazy. It's been insane. 2024 is just on fire right now for real estate. I'm telling you, with these interest rates dropping, tons of phone calls coming in. Just to give you an idea, I talked about previously how we had a record year in 2023 for Team Titans. Just to give you an idea of the craziness, these past 3 weeks, the number of deals we have signed at this moment, we are now at 50% of our whole year last year.
Wow.
And last year was a record year for us. So my brain is just in a million directions. I have like this huge list of all the different properties we're doing at the same time, but it's exciting. It's nice to see that because you never know, when you enter a new year, is this going to be a year where things are up or down? And I think there's a lot of factors into it, but I think one of the ones driving it is a lot of people who were looking to buy last year kind of got pushed out of the market because the rates were so high. And they are starting to come down now. And a lot of those people are now saying, okay, at this price point, I can handle the monthly payment. Because, people have a certain standard of living that they have for themselves. And they envision themselves living in a certain place. And when interest rates got so high, they were being pushed into neighborhoods maybe they didn't want to live in. Yeah. And so now with the interest rates coming back down, it's like, oh, wait, I can live in that neighborhood again. So
I think looking at that. You mentioned that, and last month they said the rates were around 5.25% to 5.5%, which is a couple percentage points down from what it was at its high.
Yeah. So there's some great especially if you go with like Michigan and stuff. And the other factor is the competitiveness of each offer isn't as insane. It's still high, but it's not as insane as it was like a year or two ago. So if you are doing something like an FHA loan or a Michigan loan where you have less to put down and you don't have $50,000 in guarantee money to put down, you can enter the marketplace right now. We're not back at that situation. However, if interest rates keep going down, we may see that flood again come this spring where, it's going to be the cash offers, 50,000 appraisal guarantee, all this craziness again. So it really truly is. If you're one of those buyers where, you don't have insane money to put down, you're looking for a 3% down mortgage, and maybe even you need a little bit of seller concessions to help get you through. We're in a sweet spot right now for you guys. So give us a call, 586-232-5144. Message me through Facebook, whatever you want. But if you're looking for a house in Southeast Michigan, we can help you. If you're looking outside of Southeast Michigan, still give me a call. We have a great relocation department that has a network of agents all over the country, and I can pair you up with an agent who's perfect for you.
In fact, I was talking to a friend the other day. Him and his new fiance are talking about getting a house eventually here. They want to do that before they get married. But I told him, I said, there's some things you need to look at. I said, if you don't know who to talk to, I said, I'll put you in touch with Scott. And Scott can at least direct you. They're looking probably down towards Jackson area. But I said, Scott, mainly works out of Southeast Michigan. He can help coordinate stuff or at least get you on the right track.
Yeah. And I've done Novi. I go up to Flint. I have a deal right now up in Flint, up in Port Huron. So we have a pretty good range of what we do cover. Mm-hmm. But yeah, if it's an area where I don't feel like it's the best interest of the client, I will gladly refer them out because ultimately it's about giving good service, and which is what we do. That's our secret sauce, so to speak, is we always take into account what's best for our client. Yep. So cool.
We got Kevin Miner chiming in. Howdy, Kevin. Been a little while. So
Kevin.
probably back to work after Christmas vacation times, and I know it was busy for me over the weekend with everybody coming back for their Christmas New Year vacations and having to get groceries because they were out of food
Yep.
and that. So definitely, and of course with the weather that came in the last couple of days, it's not been horrible, but it's just been that sloppy annoyance.
Right.
Between the rain and that. That's why I got this upper respiratory now because we go from like 50 degrees to 30 degrees, rain, snow, ice, this, that. It's gonna mess with my sinuses all day long. So
Right.
and that, but so that's kind of what I've been doing on that end. And Scott, you just been making deals, man.
Yeah, it's been good. It's been good, but also been working on our Crimson Shadows Kickstarter and getting that
Yeah,
moved forward. I'm actually trying to upload into our little thing here that video I did. So I'm coming up with
yeah,
this was actually Brett's idea, and I thought it was a great idea to do some individual character videos to kind of highlight each character as we get closer, because we have about 40 followers or so on our
Kickstarter.
pre-launch page.
Yep.
So I put together one for the Jack the Ripper. So I'll try to get that uploaded here. And once I do, I'll maybe later on we'll talk about the Kickstarter and share the link and share the video here. So the
Yeah,
world premiere, well, semi-world premiere. So, but yeah. So
yeah.
how have you been?
I've been good. I've been good. Working when I can. Working pretty much all week. I got to take the Saturday, Sunday off. I can't say for why. I'll talk about that next week.
It's
Nothing
CIA
bad.
stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I'm also getting ready. I won't be here in 2 weeks. I will not be doing the show. I'll be on my vacation I earned through Shipped. I'll be going down to Disney World. So I'll be going that week, the last
That
week of
is so
January.
awesome. I'm so excited for you that you were able to do that. And
Yeah, I've got I get in on Sunday and I'm gonna go to Hollywood Studios that day. I already made a reservation for a dining that day there after I get in. And then I'm also gonna do kind of like a more of a just a scouting day there. I'll definitely be hitting the Star Wars primarily that day and then
I
try to
have to
try to
get
hit a
down
couple
there.
rides. So
You've never gone to the Star Wars, what do
no.
they call it?
So
Galaxy's Edge?
yep. I've only done the original Star Wars ride they had there over the years.
Right.
But the new Galaxy Edge, I haven't been there since it opened, so I'm excited about that. So this will give me a chance on that Sunday once I get in and get over there because they're open till like 9 that night. Check
Yeah.
everything out, and then I've got my days planned on where I'm going. But I got the park hopper, so like if I decide, okay, I've done everything I want to do at this place one day, I can always hop over somewhere else and do that. And there wasn't much more to add the park hopper in. And it's something they just started back up. They just a lot of people start doing it on January 9th. You could pre-order it ahead of time, like I did, prepay it. And then say there's a dining plan. They just started the dining plan on that too. Just started up again. The dining plan is the way to go at Disney because we give you they have a couple options. I did the 6 quick service, 6 sit down, and some places will take basically they treat them like points. We'll take 2 points versus 1 point. So I basically got 5 sit down meals planned, and the rest I'll do is quick service, and I'll fill in the gaps here and there as I need to. You also get snacks. You get like 6 snacks a day or a week, or for the amount of days you're there. So I'll be fine on food. But cost wise, it's really the way to go because you get like an appetizer, the main meal, and you get dessert, and then you get a drink with it too. So it's for the cost. If you go pay for this separate, I figured out last time we were there. This was 10 years ago. It cost me like $500 for because we were there a little bit longer, and we had more days. So it was we had more points. We used some for the higher end places that take 2 points. But when I looked at they still bring you a check. They said it's covered by the dining plan, but cost wise, I spent $500 on it, but I think we spent more like 800 or 900.
Yeah.
So you get a better pricing deal and all that stuff. So
Nice.
that's really the way to go. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Brett is the master of travel. He really is. I think he was a travel agent in his past life.
No, I just started learning stuff as I started traveling more than I ever
Yeah.
did when I started doing the shows more. I started looking at things like, okay, where can I maximize, my points? So like I made a hotel reservation for Great Lakes. Well, I have the Marriott card. I get a free room every year, but I have to pay the annual fee. So I'm technically paying for it, you could say, but I have points too. So like I'm using a room this weekend, and that one is covered by points, so I didn't have to pay for that either. And that's learning things to do that. When I was traveling more, Kevin Lee and I were traveling all over, driving everywhere. I use my Marriott card for everything. Like I use my American Express now for my Delta flying. Built up tons of points, would get us free nights all the time. A lot of times when we had to stop somewhere in between on the way home or on the way somewhere, I'd find those places that were Marriott places that 7 to 10,000 points. And it was easy to rack up that kind of points and get a free night. I ended up getting usually between 15 to 20 free nights a year by paying attention to that stuff and planning. Planning is key, regardless if you're doing a theme park or just major traveling. You know, people tell me like, "Oh, I don't like to plan; I just like to go by the seat of my pants." I'm like, "Yeah," and then you're online complaining that you know you got to a hotel and it was crappy. You know.
Yeah. So when Brett is doing travel plans, he's a lot like this kid who but with him, it's like playing Tetris. Like he's this master of moving all the pieces. But did you hear about this kid who was the first in history to beat Tetris?
Yeah. Now the game itself, of course, doesn't have an actual win cycle.
Right.
It gets to a certain point where it's gone through the end of its programming and it crashes or
it crashes. Yeah, it just freezes or stops or whatever.
Yeah,
but
it's the same thing like some of the older games too. The one where you're shooting at all the asteroids coming in, but it's not asteroids; it's the other one, Missile Command.
Missile Command, yeah.
And Missile Command had the kill screen. They call them. Donkey Kong has a kill screen.
So here's the moment he broke it. Here it goes. Okay.
Oh my god!
He's like dying here.
Now the score I understand he maxed out the score long before he got to this point.
Right.
And the reason it said level 18 is because it had flipped back over to 1, 2, 3, 4, and then just crashed out.
Yeah, he was like level 20 something. I forget what they said. It's like 26 or 29 or something.
No, I think it was like a level like 150 or something like that. It was like
does it?
levels. Yeah, it was huge. So,
but yeah, it's like but it's every time you go up a level, if you don't remember Tetris or haven't played it, it gets faster and faster and faster. And it had reached that breaking point or freezing point, whatever, but only through computers doing it.
Yeah.
No human had ever done it. So
at least none that everybody knows about, because it can always be someone saying, "Oh, I did that," but I wasn't video myself doing it. So
back in 1980,
it was like the old Ataris, Defender. Do you remember the game Defender on the old Atari? I remember playing that game, and my buddy at Mark was over, and we were playing it, and I played it for like 2.5 hours straight. I remember Mom saying something like, "Well, are you gonna let Mark play?" Mark's like, "No. He's going for the flip screen." And basically, when he gets to a point where the score hit the maximum score it could hit, and then it flipped.
Yeah,
and that was about 2.5 hours.
For me, it was,
and it never ended, but it was just you flipped the score.
Yeah, my big moment in video arcade history was playing. I lived in Munson, Massachusetts, and actually, was it me or my dad? I don't even remember. I was so young. I don't even remember if it was me playing, to be honest. But someone in our family were playing Asteroids. Remember Asteroids on the Atari? Yeah. And we finally flipped the score to 0 again, and it started.
And that was a big deal.
And we were screaming in the household, jumping up and down, celebrating because we flipped the score. And I don't know if kids now appreciate like those moments in video games, because I don't know if because I think through the program, they're kind of able to make them almost like infinite now. Because it's
pretty, I think a lot of them are more infinite. It just generates more levels or whatever. It gets to a point where it's kind of just the same thing over and over.
Yeah.
But shooters like that, like Asteroids, Defender, things like that, there's not as many of them. A lot of them are just older games they ported up to look a little bit better.
Yeah.
Like the old 1942 game where you're flying the planes. I've seen multiple versions of that, Galaga, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Most games kids nowadays play, it's all the first-person shooter RPGs, things like that. So there's a definite storyline and an ending.
Yeah, I think video game companies really are missing the mark here on. It's nice, these games that can go online and everyone can play together. But like people like me, I don't even care about video game systems anymore, because I have no interest in getting my butt kicked by some 8-year-old who lives online. And I just want to, I have a life. I want to be able to sign in whenever I want, play, whether for a half hour, 2 hours, whatever, and and then just sign out. And
Well, see,
then
that's why I like RPGs, or like I like Halo. It's a first person shooter, but I don't do the multiplayer stuff.
right. Like the
Um,
last really great game for me was really the Batman Arkham series.
yeah,
I play at my pace, my timing. I don't
yeah.
me signing out. Some other player isn't killing my people and doing stuff while I'm working, you know, and then getting
Well,
trash talked by some 8-year-old. Like what? What is this? So
yeah. Well, I mean, there's different options. Like here's one. I'll share this. I just googled this real quick so I can pull it up. There's all these mini game systems.
yeah,
So right here, you can see on here you've got the mini Sega Genesis, retro game
yeah,
classics for Nintendo, PlayStation. Commodore 64 has one now too.
yep,
And the A500, which is the old Amiga systems, has their own.
right,
They know there's a market, and a
right.
lot of kids like these too.
But even the
Uh,
new games, though, a lot of those games
but
I would love to play, but just make a single player version so I don't have to do the online. Like the Red Dead Redemption looks like a fun game to me. I would love to play it
well, the first two
solo.
games are just solo games. They
Are
have
they?
multiplayer stuff, but they have most of them have a storyline. The only thing that's really online that you have to go to is, what's that shooter game that all the ones get into?
Fortnite?
Oh, Fortnite. Yeah, that's an online game. That's meant
Yeah,
to be go on, kill each other, and that's it. No story.
yeah.
Red Dead Redemption. I've got the first one. I was on the old Xbox. I played it a little bit. I never really got into it too much. It was fun a little bit. I just got away from it. But like I just finished up the oh, this one right here. So I played the Hogwarts Legacy. This
Oh,
was a
yeah.
blast. I had fun with that, and it's not a multiplayer game. It's an
Okay.
RPG.
Well, that's
So there's a
good.
lot of those out there. But just a hop on and play like we used to with the old Nintendo, even and stuff like that. Those type of games where it's just press play, go play for a little bit, stop, whatever. There's not as many of those out there. Even like Mario, they went more like RPG and things like that with the Nintendo 64 and
Yeah.
stuff like that. I haven't seen what they do with the Nintendo Switch and all that because I haven't played any of those. I used to like the Mario Kart games. They were fun. You just pop those on, race for a little bit. That was it. So, but a lot of different stuff there. So,
Yeah. Well, that's cool.
yeah.
There's
And
also
then
been
you get the Star Wars news, right?
yeah. So
Yep.
last week, if you watch, we there was rumors keep swirling regarding this Ray movie and stuff, and we've talked extensively about it. But there's a lot of negative opinions about it because of who they chose. I'm one of
Mhm.
those negative opinions. However, some other news has come out, which and it's funny when you read the comments, people are not receiving it well. The other stuff, however, this is getting a lot of great comments.
Yes.
They have officially announced the Mandalorian movie, and Jon Favreau is directing it.
Yep.
I'm so excited for this. They've
And
also confirmed Ahsoka season 2.
yeah, and it's legitimate because it's on three places I trust on the StarWars.com, Variety, and then the Hollywood Reporter there.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the ones I trust versus all the other ones that pop up stuff and you read it's like speculation, rumors.
Yeah.
We kind of heard through a guy, it's the old Spaceballs, I'm your third cousin's uncle's brother's
Yeah.
college roommate.
Yep. And so I'm
But
very geeked for this. Jon Favreau knows how to. He understands the formula. The formula is you're part of a franchise, stay in the sandbox. You are making movies for the studio, so make them happy, but you're
yep,
also making movies for the fans, make them happy. And he understands this. And plus, he works so closely with Filoni. He trusts Filoni.
yep.
Filoni
I mean,
trusts
they
him.
mentioned the three main players here is Favreau's writing, directing it. Filoni's consulting on it, sounds like, and then of course Kathleen Kennedy is still involved because she's
Right.
still ahead of Lucasfilm at this point in
Right.
terms of the financial end. And she's even quoted saying, this is going to be a great film. The fans will be excited, blah, blah, because she knows. I mean, this is going to go over very well.
But I find it interesting. The Ahsoka season 2, everything associated with Filoni is getting official announcements now.
Yep.
The Rey movie is still this like weird pseudo announcement that I think, like we've speculated, I think it's just Kennedy trying to backdoor her legacy into things around the higher ups. But
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't
Time
think
will
it's
tell.
well, and if it truly is going to happen, it's fine. But if it's going to happen the way the director says it's going to, I mean, she's being downright just nasty and talking about wants to be in the fanboys' faces and
Yeah.
she wants to make them feel uncomfortable and everything else. I'm going. No,
Well, now,
Star Wars is always inclusive, and if you're going to
right.
take that away, you're just going to kill the franchise.
Yeah. So now, to be fair to her, that interview that they're pulling a lot of that came out a couple years ago. So she
Okay.
wasn't thinking Star Wars while she said it, but it reveals she was talking honestly, and her views on how to make movies and what kind of movies she thinks should be made. So kind of like Yoda saying to Obi-Wan, revealed your opinion is, like, so had she been asked this after getting the Star Wars gig, maybe she would have worded it different, but we know her essence now. Her
Well,
truth
yeah.
came out.
And at that point, it's like, if you want to make those type of movies, do not do it in an existing franchise.
Right.
Create your own movie. Create your own thing.
Yeah. So I'm curious to see, because there's so much happening. I shared a story with Brett behind this, people talk about superhero fatigue and all this stuff. And really the question is it woke fatigue? And Disney, like the Snow White thing and all these things happening where that's now getting pushed out to 2025. People are tired of agenda driven movies. Like we keep talking, we're tired of bad writing, but I thought about it. Are we, like, look at 80s movies. They're horribly written, but
Well,
we
here's
love
the
them.
difference, though. There's bad writing, and then there's like what we saw in the 80s, which was just that kind of, it was
It's a roller
definitely,
coaster. It's fun. It's popcorn.
they were B movies. They were just fun stories. Yeah, they weren't the best written
Yes.
stuff in the world, but when all you throw in is agenda driven stuff, I don't care which side it is, left, right, in the middle, doesn't matter.
Exactly.
If it's strictly 100% agenda driven, your story sucks. It's not entertaining. I'm sorry. I go back to the 80s. Yeah, I grew up in that, watching all those movies. I keep buying them when they come out on Blu-ray, stuff like that, especially ones I don't have. But I can go back to them and watch them like, man, that was fun. I was trying to see if I got anything around here.
Well, because they understand what they are. They don't. They're not doing bad writing, but thinking they're Oscar worthy. They understand we are a 100% testosterone filled action blow up movie.
Yeah, well, I've got some here. I haven't got. One of the companies I like to deal with online, Arrow, came out with their stuff. Arrow, Vinegar. They're these. This is the future of the home physical media. Is going to be these concierge sites of like Umbrella Entertainment, what did I say, Arrow, Shout TV, stuff like that. Those places, they're actually getting the rights to put these movies out on Blu-ray and doing good quality stuff. So like I picked up couple things. I picked up this one here. I hadn't seen in a long time. I'm a fan of Phoebe Cates, and I always thought it was a fun one. Drop Dead Fred. You might remember that one from late 80s, early 90s. It was just one of those goofy movies.
Is that David Tennant in there?
No.
Who's the guy in?
That is Rick Mayall.
Oh, okay.
I remember this is late 80s. So
yeah.
And another one that had a really good release this year, Vinegar Syndrome did from Paramount, was Daryl. You might remember Daryl.
Oh wow, I forgot about that one.
Bunch of those movies around that time, that were taking, sci-fi effects and that. And then this one here, I didn't even realize I ordered. I must have dropped it in there and forgot all about it. I was going to look at it, but I ordered was Chuck Norris in Sidekicks, which was
wearing his action pants.
Yeah, it's basically his version of Karate Kid, or what was it? The one with the little three ninjas. So they did a bunch of those movies around that time. Yeah. So that was his version with the kid that ended up being on SG1. Unfortunately, he took his own life in the late 90s, but. Yeah. But he was a good actor. He just had some troubling issues and that. So, but yeah, it's stuff like that. I get those pre-ordered here and there, and I like the physical media. I have stuff on digital. I watch on digital. There's things I'll buy just digital when I want to watch it again. Not worried if I get to keep it forever or not. But for a lot of that stuff, I like having. I'm basically, I'm like one of the many caretakers out there of physical media.
Well, one day the lack of physical media is going to bite people, whether it's books. Great example. Dictionaries. There's huge danger to societies by putting everything digital, because we see it now. If you go back to old dictionaries that were printed, you can look up definitions, and whether people change the definition or not, you can always go back and look at what was the original definition. With digital, they can go in, edit it, and you never see what it used to be. Here's a great example I'll give. The Bible. There is mention of unicorns in the Bible, and a lot of people will be like, oh, see, the Bible's fake because it talks about unicorns. But you have to understand word usage. If you look up get a physical dictionary from 200 years ago, the word unicorn as we use it is a modern definition. But if you go to the Latin terminology, the word unicorn was meant for a single-horned rhinoceros. There's a single horn and a two-horned version. So
Yeah.
the single horn was unicorn. The two-horned was a bicorn or whatever bicornus or whatever they called it. And so that's how it was referred to way back when. And if you look up the actual name of a rhinoceros, it's Unicornus rhinoceros, or however you say it in Latin. But so words will change over time. So physical media is important. And the same with books like Harry Potter. You know, the woke community, if everything is purely digital, if the person who owns the original copies wants to, they could go in and change the digital words, and you will never know what the original story was.
They do that a lot on Kindle. People that
Yep.
only publish their books there will go in and edit them, change some things here and there.
Yep. Yeah, so it's important to have it. Same with movies and everything else, especially with AI now. You could change a whole movie to something completely different than what the creator intended, 50, 100 years from now, and no one will know.
Yep.
So original copies are important. Plus, when you have a digital copy, you don't own it. You own the licensing rights. And at any time, they reserve the right to cancel that.
That's why people are losing their TV shows on PlayStation now.
Yep.
And that's the whole thing. We've talked about this since we really started the podcast. We've covered this, that digital was very limited, that it's not going to be there forever.
Yeah.
And it's funny, every year people complain online, like, I went to watch XYZ movie and now it's not on the streaming service now, or they want me to pay for it now, or for this. Or I remember like a few years ago, it was like, oh, we were going to watch Home Alone. They took it off before Christmas. And now they want you to buy it.
Home Alone's a great example. That one, Trump is in it. How many people wanted the movie canceled because Trump is in it? If you own the rights, the real rights to that movie, and it's only in digital format, you could just make it so no one can ever watch it again. You can block him out of it. You can do it. You can make changes. Now that's a small, not earth shattering, but the point is, you will never again see it the way it was intended, because someone down the road chooses they don't like the message.
Well, even Star Wars, Lucas did the special editions,
right?
And unless you own a previous version of it on either video, VHS, or Laserdisc, which I think I have both, you're not going to see the original movies that we knew through the 80s. But even the original New Hope wasn't a New Hope. That was never been released as the original theatrical edition.
Right.
I've seen it online where people have cobbled it together.
Right.
Illegally, technically, but it's been streaming for free if you can find it. But it's definitely a little different. It didn't say episode 4. It had just the scroll, and there was a couple things different.
Now here's the key difference between that example and others, though. George Lucas is the creator.
Yes,
and so he does have a right to change his own work. And so, but even then, it's nice to have the original copy that you can always go back to. Even like the Laserdisc version of Empire Strikes Back, there's some jewels on there that were on no other versions. And so if you have that Laserdisc copy, you can watch those whenever, even if George says, I don't want anyone to see it anymore, you can still see it because you own it.
Yeah, I've got all 3 original movies on Laserdisc from the 90s when they came out prior to the special editions.
Mm-hmm.
I have quite a few. I've probably got 75 different movies on Laserdisc, stuff like that. So I'm redoing I call a game room in here. It's just our family room, and making it where we can utilize it better again. I'm going to start bringing that stuff out from my back room and have it available. So if I want to watch stuff on Laserdisc just for fun or whatever, I can do that, as well as movies. I even got a record player recently.
Yeah.
I don't own many records, but I had like 4 or 5 already. I was like, well, I better get a record player so I can listen to them once in a while. And I like that. I like the sound of it. The sound of the needle when it first hits the record is always just a great sound.
There's something about that.
A little pop. It's like a pop sizzle almost.
And how much of though is that? I mean, I don't know if kids now would get it. It's nostalgia for us, I think, the sound.
I think so,
I don't know, but it's a cool sound, just something about it. And there is a different quality to vinyl versus, it's almost like CD sound, digital sound is too perfect. So it makes it almost unnatural.
It is. I had a discussion, this is well over 30 years ago, with my film professor, Dr. Aldridge at Eastern Michigan. And he had an intense vinyl collection, of course, still. We're all getting into CDs at this point. And he talked about it. I talked to him a little bit not too long after that, and when I was running the lab one day, and he came in because he was showing a movie for film theory, so he didn't need to be in there. So we were chatting for a while, and I had no students coming in and doing any work. And he's talking about that, and it's just the difference is with the vinyl analog, you get just much more of the sound. Analog allows for like errors where digital doesn't, and
Yeah,
digital
it
is
picks
more
up the ambiance of the room that it was
yeah.
recorded in, and
He kind of
it's
like it in
different stuff.
the same way as basically digital is more sanitized. And that's about the
Yes.
best way to put it. It's not even perfect because it's not. They have to do a lot of stuff to get it to have some of those richer sounds. The higher, they got higher bit rates now, things like that. But even in vinyl, if you go look at some of the bands now putting out their own vinyl, they'll put out like one edition that's kind of like their standard edition, but they'll have a special edition where instead of having like 6 or 8 songs on one side, they'll have like 3 to 5.
Yeah.
And what it is, they put larger grooves in, and it gets a more richer, deeper sound. And actually, you hear more sound that you didn't hear from the original vinyls on some of the classic stuff when they remaster them that way
Yeah.
versus the digital streaming or CDs.
Yeah. Yes.
So,
Yeah. So physical media is definitely the way to go. Just like, we got streaming service, all this, and that the creator's intent is so vital. And just a segue really quick, if you don't mind, one of the creator's intents that are getting destroyed is theatrical releases. A lot of times movies are made for theatrical release, and so many people are just watching it on TV instead. And one of the people who are really big proponents of this is Tom Cruise. And I find this is a really interesting thing that Tom Cruise is being brought in to develop original films and franchises.
yes.
He almost
Well,
single-handedly saved Hollywood with Maverick. I mean,
well, yeah, that was such a huge release. He said, no, we're not going to release it on streaming. You have to go see it in the theater, and they put a time frame on it. It was several months where it could be on streaming because he wanted people to see it. And I'll tell you, I saw it twice in the theater. You had to see it in the theater to truly, grasp how great the movie was, how well it was. I've watched it at home once, and it's fun. I enjoyed it a lot. But being in the theater, it really was a theatrical film.
yeah. Oh yeah, with how he did Maverick to film things from inside the cockpit of the plane, so you as a viewer you can almost feel those G's that they're pulling as they're turning, and you just see the effect on the actors, and it was just so cool to see. But and what's another key with Tom Cruise? He tells good stories. He doesn't play the politic game and the BS game. He's purely there to do a good story.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. I like the last Mission Impossible. He's still working on the next part, and he's done with those supposedly.
I wish that movie did better. It was so good.
It was. I didn't just go see it in the theater. That was because I was so busy, and I don't get to the theater as much as I'd like to, and it's not because I don't want to. It's more just time
busy.
lately.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where, it's seeing movies in the theaters is that much better. It really is on everything.
Yeah.
And
Tom Cruise gets it.
Yeah, and he does. He always has. It's and I don't agree with him on a lot of his personal beliefs, but he doesn't bring those into his films. He's telling.
Well, he's learned a lot too. He went through a rough patch there. We all know about, and he got quite agenda driven for his personal agenda, and it hurt him. But I think he learned from that, and it doesn't mean you as a person can't have your own views that you talk about. But there's a difference between sharing your views and beliefs and forcing your views and beliefs.
Right. And the thing is, like, I was looking at what he's produced and all that stuff over the last, whatever years. And, just since 2008, he did things like Valkyrie. That was a decent movie. And that was about World War II. Night and Day was all right. He's done, of course, Mission Impossibles. The Rock of Ages film, I feel, doesn't work. And it's not because of him or anybody else. I saw the stage version before I saw the film. And the stage version works better than the film aspect of it. It just really didn't translate as a musical going to film on that part. And that's Edge of Tomorrow. I like that one. That was a good one. That was fun.
That was great. I really hope they do a sequel. They've talked about a sequel for a long time. They even changed the name to allow it to become a franchise. It was Live, Die, Repeat Edge of Tomorrow, I think, was the first time name. And then they changed it to Live, Die, Repeat, and Edge of Tomorrow became the franchise name.
Yeah, it was original title was Live, Die, Repeat. and then Edge of Tomorrow was still there. Live Die Repeat, Edge of Tomorrow. They
Okay.
dropped that and just went to Edge of Tomorrow, so that way they could go back to. That was a
Yeah.
good one. Emily Blunt was in that one. It
That
was
was
that was
excellent. I really hope they do that one.
yeah. I've seen that a few times. The Mummy movie, he's a producer on, but that was Universal trying to bring the dark monster movies, and unfortunately, I just felt
They
Tom Cruise
missed the
was
mark.
not right. Tom Cruise was not right for that one because he's too much Tom Cruise.
Well,
That
I
would be
think they've done it right. The problem is they tried to turn it into a Tom Cruise movie instead of Tom Cruise being in a horror movie.
right, and that's what I was getting at. It was just too much Tom Cruise. It was just too
Yeah.
much like his other movies, which I enjoy those type movies, Top
Yeah.
Guns, Mission Impossibles. The Mummy should have been, well,
Horror.
it's if it's going to go dark horror, they should have gone with probably not as high a profile an actor.
Yeah. Now, to be fair to Universal, they tried to go that route with the werewolf with Benicio del Toro,
That was a really good movie, though.
but financially it was horrible,
Right.
and so I think that scared them. And
Well,
so
I mean,
they
it
went
had
too
it
far
had a
into
name.
another
It had Benicio del Toro was a little bit bigger than Anthony Hopkins was in it.
Yeah.
For the Wolfman. It was Joe Johnson did it, and people just didn't want to see it. They're like, whatever. It's because it was. I think it was as they said it more in the classic time instead of updating modern. Where the Mummy went more modern. I think that's what that hurt that too. It's you got to find a good balance. But the Wolfman's always been a tough one. That's not been. I mean, werewolf movies people like, but the Wolfman itself, people have not clamored to in terms of much.
I feel like that should not have been the leading entry into their new franchise universe. They should have done a different character, maybe had Wolfman as a background character, or waited till the franchise as a whole was stronger before they brought the Wolfman's movie in. For sure.
Well, I think it was just one of those things where it was easily to do that. They were like, no, don't touch our Frankenstein, don't touch our Dracula, and you can go ahead and do this. I seen it a couple times and it was good. The Wolfman was very good. It was it followed very similar to the original story. They just of course expanded on it and went from there, but it was very well good. Yeah.
Kevin is our resident horror expert, so he agrees.
Yeah, they screwed up the Mummy. And it's funny because as much as I go to Universal, I do the horror makeup show there. Which it's funny, people go, but it's the same show every time. It's like, it's always slightly different with the people that are doing the acting part, because different things happen and they can work off the cuff on that. But they always show clips in that from the Tom Cruise Mummy because I think it was supposed to be a bigger. They'd hoped it had been like a huge hit, and the rumor was they were going to rebrand the Mummy ride at Universal to be the Tom Cruise. In fact, when it closed the other year for refurbishment, they redid the track, and so it was down for several months. People were worried they were going to change out all the Brendan Fraser Mummy stuff for the Tom Cruise one, but it's they didn't do that. They kept it all the same, and the Brendan Fraser Mummy stuff worked because it was a good character-driven story that wasn't modern but wasn't too old either.
Right.
In some ways, they did. They went and probably looked at the original Mummy, and then they said, okay, this is a little slow and boring, but we tie in a little Abbott and Costello bit to it, and we can have a little bit more. And that's what it always felt like to me, which I like the Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein and all that stuff. But definitely it's,
Yeah, good stuff. Well, we'll see where it goes. I'll be interested in the future to see where it goes.
They're still talking about relaunching all the Universal monster stuff. Tom Cruise will be part of that going to Warner Brothers, but if he is interested, we have a great Jack the Ripper story tying in Dracula.
You want me to cover that next?
Might as well. We're getting to 10:40 already, so
present that screen there. Yeah. Then we'll maybe cover upcoming movies through March, and then we'll talk some football real quick.
Yeah, great football week.
So where's the? I gotta share the screen. Share screen. There we go. So we have our pre-launch coming up. I'm going to share the link here in the comments. You can go there. See that green button there? Notify me on lunch. Click the link and then click that green button. That will allow you to be notified when we launch, which is going to be January 30th. So 3 weeks from yesterday. We currently have 44 people following it. Want to get that up to like at least 60 would be nice. But this is our little baby coming up. It's our trade release, which is going to be available in 4 different softcover versions as well as 1 hardcover version. So we have some different options. It's almost 200 pages long. it takes issues 1 through 4, compiles them together in chronological order, and then adds a bonus 28 pages of stories that's never been released. So it's a really hardy story. Really, it's about 8 comic book issues worth of content in total. And then we have a nice bonus section showing the concept art, timelines, true facts, and cover art gallery, and those kind of things. So it's a high quality book. We're very proud of it. It looks phenomenal. Brett is the letterer on it. Kevin is the inker. And then I have my part in it as well. So a lot of great stuff in it. So with that said, I want to quickly give the little preview video there of who is Jack the Ripper.
Yeah.
And there we go. So yeah, it's a fun story, and I incorporate a lot of true evidence, facts, people, locations of the original Jack the Ripper case into the story as well. And so it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing the trade finished and people get in their hands because we've been building stuff for the last 4 years, and this is a great culmination of this segment. And then going forward, we'll be making some announcements long after the trade comes out what we're doing next. So in the Crimson Shadows universe.
Yeah. So good stuff.
Yeah. So I was looking at upcoming movies and that. And one thing I saw was on Variety here was there's a movie called Mickey's 17 coming out. I had not heard about this, starring Robert Pattinson. They've announced they're pushing it. I don't see a date for it right now. But they are moving up to March 29th from April, the Godzilla X Kong, the new Empire movie. So it's getting a couple weeks earlier release.
I wonder if they're trying to jump on the popularity of the Godzilla -1.
I think a little bit of that. They also have that series on Apple TV I haven't watched that's about the company tied in there that deals with Godzilla. What is that? Let me see here if I can find it real quick. But I also think it's around where they're moving up to. I think it's a better release for Easter week. Monarch, that's what it is. Monarch, Legacy of Monsters on Apple TV.
Oh, that's doing really well. A lot of people are liking that.
Yeah, I'm tempted. I don't know if the entire series is out yet or not, but if it is, I may have to do like a month on Apple TV just to take a look at it.
Right. Let's see here. I'm trying to see.
I used to have Apple TV, and I just never watched it because there wasn't anything really going on. Didn't get into Ted Lasso. I tried to watch it. I know people love that, but it just wasn't anything that struck with me. So
right. Cool. I have here a list. Do you have a list to pop on the screen, or do you want me to throw
I don't.
up?
Go ahead and throw yours up there. Yeah.
I'll throw this up. So here's a list. I'm trying to get just theatrical. I'm hoping that's what this is. That's what I typed. This is Movie Insider. So let's see. We're at January 10th now. So just trying to scan here and see if there's anything.
Well, coming out this week, I don't think it's going to be like the greatest movie ever, but I think it looks like a fun movie, is the Jason Statham, The Beekeeper.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it falls in line.
Here it is.
It falls in line with all his other movies. Yep. Guy who can basically just kick butt and everything else, and so those are just a lot of good popcorn movies to sit and watch.
So he's assigned to protect the hive, which is the hive is code for like the government or something like that. So he's the guy who comes in when the government can't handle their own stuff. He takes care of business.
Yeah.
Yep. So we got Mean Girls coming up, which is that's a popular. I got to see that a year and a half ago now as a play.
Yeah.
It was fun as a play. It's not my typical genre of movie or play, but it was fun to see live and how they did.
Yeah, the movie is taking the musical theater version and now making it in the cinema. So it's basically that version of it, updated a little bit. Tina Fey, of course, she's the one that wrote the original one. She's still involved with it. So I heard that's going on. I think it'll do well. I think people want to go see it that are into those movies, especially now that the Mean Girl era from 20 years ago, all them girls are now women with a lot of them with kids of their own.
Right. Yep. And then I've been seeing tons of advertisements for this Lights Out. That's a horror movie. So if you're a horror fan, that's coming out. Let's see here. Trying to see if anything else pops up. I hope this is a better year than last year. Honestly, there wasn't many movies I was thrilled about last year.
Yeah.
Oh, this one's coming out January 19th. I'm intrigued by this. Did you see the trailer for ISS, for the International Space
Yeah,
Station?
I did see that. I guess for me, it didn't throw me too much. I looked at it, it was okay. It looks like
I want to see
basic premises looks like the world basically destroys itself and they're up there fighting.
Yeah, they're in
the Russian Americans after the world has basically done a nuclear attack. So
both sides are ordered by their governments to take over the International Space Station at all costs. So the Russians versus the Americans in space. So I'm intrigued by that. I might go see it. If I have time, I'll see it. Otherwise, if I have to wait till it comes out on streaming, I'm fine with that too.
Okay.
Let's see. Founders Day. I feel like I've heard of that one. I don't recognize it though off the top. Let's see. Cowboy Bebop, the movie. Oh, animation.
Yeah.
I'm like, didn't that come out last year?
They did the series on Netflix, which I still haven't finished, but I liked what I saw so far. It didn't do well, and never got renewed. But the original anime was only like one season too, so it's really around. There's fans, but it just never takes off. But that Founders Day, the basic premise is it's a small town is shaken by a series of ominous killings in the days leading up to a heated mayoral election. Eric Blomquist is doing it.
Okay.
So it's one of those falls in their movies.
It's a thriller.
Yeah, it's an hour and 46 minutes, and it's got a feel of like a little bit of Purge and things like that they've done over the years. And
I don't know when it comes out. Maybe it'll be down here, but there's that Civil War movie coming out too at some point where kind of the U.S. has the kind of like Civil War Part 2 set in modern times and kind of like Texas takes on everybody or something. I don't know.
There we go. Civil War 2024. Alex Garland, stuff like that. Epic action film written and directed by Alex Garland, stars Kristen Dunst, Wagner Moura, Stephen McKinley Henderson, Jesse Plemons, who is Kirsten Dunst's husband or partner. I know they got kids together. Comes out in April, looks like. It's done by A20. Yeah, A24 is the production company.
Okay.
In the near future, a team of journalists travel across the United States during a rapidly escalating civil war has engulfed the entire nation, struggling to survive during a near future where the government has become a dystopian dictatorship and the partisan extremist militias regularly commit political violence.
Yeah, so it's a factual movie. Let's see. The next one, let's see. Oh, February 2nd, Argyle's coming out. That looks interesting to me. It looks like a fun movie. I like Henry Cavill. He's in it. You got Dallas Bryce Howard in it. So that looks interesting. Scrambled, that doesn't sound familiar to me. That's a comedy. They have it bolded, so I'm thinking that's a highlighted topic there. Oh, here we go. Comedy in February 9th. Lisa Frankenstein? Never heard of
that looks interesting. It's basically the woman, she has a boyfriend that's basically a Frankenstein. Is the way you put it. So they're going across trying to find body parts or something like that. The premise sounds a little bit fun, kind of like that Warm Bodies zombie movie came out several years ago.
That was fun.
Yeah, that sounded a little bit like so we're kind of neat to see.
Yeah. It's always nice to have some fun in your day sometimes. The world can be too serious sometimes. Let's see. Oh, Madam Web comes out February 14th.
And the crowd goes mild.
Yeah, honestly, I have zero interest in it.
I saw the trailer and I was like, I don't need to see it. It does not look interesting at all.
It doesn't. So why can't Sony just accept the partnership with Marvel, let Marvel handle the Spider-Man stuff? Every time they try to put their stuff, like, what was it, Morbius? very lackluster.
Yeah.
The
I didn't dislike Morbius, but it wasn't great.
It wasn't great. The Venom, it was okay, but
And
not
the
great.
second Venom I actually saw before the first Venom. I like the second Venom better,
Yeah,
but it was a comedy. It was a buddy comedy at that point.
but Sony keeps trying to do the Spider-Verse without Spider-Man. Like, it's in the name, Spider. Like, come on. And somehow Sony is just milking it to death, where there's just millions and millions of Spider-Man other than the one true Spider-Man.
Right.
So it's just like, come on. If you really want to carry forth the Spider-Man stuff, follow Andrew Garfield, take what MCU did and tell a moving forward story and do that. And they now have Michael Keaton over there because they pulled him into that Spider-Verse.
Yep.
And so tell the Andrew Garfield version of Spider-Man, bring in the Michael Keaton Vulture from the MCU, and you can create they keep wanting to do the Sinister Six. So build it off of that.
Yeah, 20 years later, and it's just, he's still going, and you have the older Spider-Man. Because I like what they set up for his version of Spider-Man in that movie.
Yeah, they have a perfect launching point. And what does Sony do? Ignore it, and let's go with the all-female version of Madam Web that no one wants, and the one Spider-Man in is going to be a bad guy. We got to vilify him. It's just the same crap.
Yeah.
I am interested in. I'm really liking the previews for this Bob Marley movie, One Love.
Yes.
I want to see that. I hope it's done very well, but I'm looking.
The trailer looked good. And I think it's gonna be a good story. I mean, he's an iconic musician that crosses genres in terms of what people like. There's a lot of people you wouldn't think would like his music, and oh no, I like his music. Stuff like that. So.
You see, there's a Winnie the Pooh movie coming out there. Blood and Honey 2.
Yeah, and that's the second one since it's the first one actually made money. Well,
was that a horror version?
With the Mickey Mouse Steamboat Willie now public domain, they have 2 horror movies around that coming out. I don't care to see any of them.
Weird.
They look cheesy and everything else, and not in a good cheesy 80s way, just a really bad way.
Kind of weird.
No, I won't be watching that.
That's like someone did that trailer, which actually looked good, a horror version of Charlie Brown, or it was called Blockhead, and Charlie Brown was just not taking any crap anymore. Let's see, Land of Bad. I have no idea what that is.
Yeah, I mean, look up some of these.
There's a Sesame Street movie coming out February 19th.
That Land of Bad is about a rookie Air Force combat controller and a seasoned drone pilot supporting a Delta Force team as they try to shift a mission gone wrong into rescue operation.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Have you heard about the Sesame Street movie?
No.
No idea what that is.
That Land of Bad has Russell Crowe and Luke Hemsworth. And then Liam Hemsworth as well. So the Hemsworth and Milo Ventimiglia from
Oh, okay. Did you ever see the video of they're interviewing Woody Harrelson and Liam Hemsworth, and the question is asked about, how's your brother Chris doing? And then the light bulb goes off, and Woody Harrelson's like, I never realized you two were brothers. You have the same last name. I should have known. And it's so funny. Like, you see like this look of confusion, and then the light bulb goes off, and he's like, what?
Yeah, the Sesame Street movie is just, it looks like the entire Sesame Street gang gets booted out of the neighborhood and they have to find themselves in Manhattan. So
they're kind of doing like a Muppets type movie where it's set in the real world type thing.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay. See, Drive Away Dolls. I'm guessing it's like an all-girls bank robber movie, I'm going to guess, and they're driving away.
We'll have to see. See, a lot of these have not been advertised. So let's see. IMDb says the film follows Jamie, an uninhibited free spirit bemoaning yet another breakup with a girlfriend and her demure friend Marion, who desperately needs to loosen up. It's a road trip movie with women.
Yeah, I won't be seeing it.
Yeah,
it's a crappy Thelma and Louise.
That's what it sounds like, but it's got Pedro Pascal in it, so and Matt Damon.
Okay, all right.
Or as Kevin Lean used to say with Matt Damon, Matt Damon.
See, March 1st, Dune Part 2. I didn't even bother with Dune Part 1.
I liked it.
I
It was good.
I only got through like a half hour, and for some reason my whole life I cannot connect with the Dune franchise. I just can't.
I've never been able to read the books. I can watch the movies. They are definitely a slower pace.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll go see that in the theater, but eventually we'll want to see Dune 2. Mainly because it's 3 hours, it's just sitting there. So like, okay, I enjoy it, but at the same time, it's like,
Yeah, I don't know. I think in general, looking back, actually, all movies that take place in deserts probably I just don't care about. At least Tatooine, they move on. They don't stay the whole movie on a desert. It's like,
yeah, and Luke hates the desert, so he keeps talking about how she hates it. So,
yeah,
well, then we got
yep.
I see down there, Kung Fu Panda 4 is coming out.
Oh, I did not know that. That's
Yeah,
Jack Black
that
does Kung Fu Panda, right?
yep, and it looks pretty good. I like those movies; they'll be fun. Kids will like that. So,
And then there's one called Imaginary. It's a thriller. I wonder what that means. Imaginary. Let's see what that is. Yeah, it's amazing how many of these movies are getting no advertising.
At least not yet. They might be waiting for the March releases for like the Super Bowl time.
True. Yeah.
So.
Oh, Imaginary. I did see the trailer for this. This is along the lines of Megan and Five Nights at Freddy's. It's the same group, I believe, where this teddy bear is like in possessed by these imaginary friends are actually ghosts, and they can possess like the teddy bear and different things.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that one actually looked good. And like I said, I believe it's the same people who did Megan and Five Nights at Freddy's. So they did a great job with both of those movies. So yeah. I probably will see this one.
And Five Nights at Freddy's getting a sequel. It's been announced. So.
Oh, it is official. Okay, good.
Yep, they're working on that now. So I think it works out. They've got some story there with the sister sites and things like that, and so it'll be interesting to see how that comes out. So.
All right. Then let's see. Rounding out March, we have Arthur the King.
Oh, Ghostbusters.
Oh, yep. There we go. Oh, and Mickey 17, March 29th. So
that's been moved till later. They just haven't given a date yet. So I think that's the other reason they moved that and they're moving Godzilla up to compete with the Ghostbusters. So I think they probably are hoping that the Mickey later will probably get a better audience.
Oh, this one's not a theatrical release, but on Prime Video, Roadhouse, the remake, is coming out March 21st. I don't know how that will be. I mean, Roadhouse it's not that great of a movie, let's be honest. But it came out at just the right time where
it's a fun 80s movie.
Yeah, it became a cult movie,
It's got some fun lines in it.
That.
It's got some fun, quotes and things like that. And but it's one of those films that remaking it isn't even really gonna care.
Yeah.
But I mean it just let's see, I was trying to see what
I forgot who was being cast.
Jake Gyllenhaal plays Elwood Dalton.
Okay. And
then Conor McGregor's in it. Lucas Gage. Here we go. Yeah, it's completely different. It's so an ex-UFC middleweight fighter ends up working at a rowdy bar in the Florida Keys where things are not as they seem. So it's not a direct remake. It's taking the basics, it sounds like, and then going from there. So I have a feeling that maybe Conor McGregor is no, it's Jake Gyllenhaal. He's Dalton, so he's the one that's the cooler.
What the heck is this? March 22nd. What the heck? The American Society of Magical Negroes is coming out in March in theaters. It's a fantasy movie. Is that like a Damon Wayans type movie?
What? No, but it's David Alan Greer's in it. Justice Smith.
So it's going to be along the line.
It is a comedy, though. It's a satirical comedy about a young man. Lost it here. Who's recruited to a secret society of magical black people. I've heard there's different talks. I've heard different people talk about with movies, and one of the things that will happen, like Legend of Bagger Vance, different movies like that, you have the magical Negro, and that's the Negro comes in, and even Song of the South, they kind of classify that as
are we even allowed to say
wisdom
white people? Are we allowed to say that title? I don't even know what the rule is right now.
Yeah, we can say Negro.
It's the official title. So we're not going to get canceled.
Well, they probably want to cancel us anyway, so who cares anymore? So just cancel us,
That just sounds so funny. The Secret Society of Magical Negroes. Like what? Oh, too much.
Well,
So that's
let me
our
see.
March lineup.
Yeah, I got a couple of things. I've got a couple of the trailers up,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
um, here we go. I'm going to share this though real quick. And this one we probably can't say. I'm waiting to see how they do say it. But it's this young football player going to West Virginia next year. And look at his last name. It's Noah Knigga. That
Oh
is his real
my
last name.
God. That's not right. Oh,
The
wow.
I've been seeing all over stuff, different black guys sharing stuff about how these guys gonna say this name, and I've seen different like phonetic like spell out how they
Especially, even his
yeah.
first initial is N.
Well, it's Knigga is his last name.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Wow. Yeah,
and
that's a lot of people are going to be fired next year.
yeah.
Oh
Yeah, he's a class of 25, so he's not so Friday. He will
my God.
visit West Virginia. Is considered, so it's probably a year or so away. Then a couple years away. Um, yeah,
Oh my God.
but yeah, there's
This is
all kinds of
just
stuff all over. Yeah,
oh
because
my
we're here
God.
it's like Tony Bronner share the maybe the
And he's
greatest
a
thing in
white
college sports
guy.
history. Well, that's the whole thing.
And so every
And
time he has to introduce himself,
yeah,
he might get beat up.
yeah.
Oh
So
my
it's
God.
just fun of that. So I just think it's
So what's the
hilarious.
deal? He's in college right now, or he's going to
No, he's getting
college?
ready. He's going to West Virginia to see if he wants to go there. He's
Okay.
gotten offers from like Miami of Ohio, James Madison, Bowling Green,
Wow.
Ball State, Indiana State. So he is a top recruit in those type of classes. But yeah.
Yeah. I'm not going to say his name.
Well, it's
Maybe
like the
go with initials,
have you
NK.
seen the comedy clip? It's they're on stage. You can tell it was set up as like an
Yep. I
improv
think I
thing.
know what you're going to say.
And the white guy's talking to the black guy's wanting his money, and instead of saying the word, he points to the other black guy. The black guy
He
says
hired
it.
a black guy to fill in the word for him.
Yeah. Which is I've seen that. I can't tell you. I'll sit up watching because it's hilarious.
That's what all
It's
sports
funny.
announcers are going to have. They're going to have a guy on set to say the name.
This is gonna what's his name? The announcer, Booger.
Oh yeah, McFarland.
Yeah. This just guaranteed he has work as the play-by-play caller on every one of those games.
And why would there be a guy on TV named Booger?
Well, his real name is Anthony Darrow. Booger's his nickname.
But why
he's always gone by. So
who wants that name? I would
here's
definitely
the
want
thing.
to go by Anthony.
He's actually really good just talking about it, but the play-by-play stuff he was horrible at it. I think he was on Monday Night Football for a while there, and he's just not good on that. But he knows his stuff about football, so he's good as an analyst during like the halftime and pregame stuff and post-game. So, but real quick about football, Michigan.
Yeah,
University of Michigan.
Exciting time to be in. I mean, my whole life, I don't think we've ever had such an exciting time to be football fans in Michigan, the state of Michigan.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is like, let me see if I can share this one here. See if it still does it. I just Googled. If you Google them on the Google here, it let me just refresh and see if it does it. It was doing like fireworks. So yep, there it goes.
Here, share it.
Yeah. Oh, didn't share it. Did you share it? Oh, let me share it again. I thought I shared it.
There you go.
Let me do it again.
Refresh.
Yep. There it goes.
Kind of like Kickstarter when it gets funded.
Yep. And they did it as maize and blue fireworks, which is pretty cool.
Cool.
It's been. I mean, I've got people already were posting. It's a shame that cheaters win and all this other stuff. I'm like, I'm sorry. Every team in football, just like every team in baseball, we talk about the Houston, finds a way to learn signs, and it's always the way it's been, and it's not cheating. I mean, they have to earn it. They played hard, and they didn't. You could know what was going to do and still not be able to win.
Yeah, and every person I've heard talk about it who was a coach or player in the past, none of them think it's a big deal. They all say everyone does it. It's one of those things. It's not a big deal.
The only ones that act as a big deal is if they lost to them.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's not like they were banging trash cans on the side.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. And, we'll see where it goes. I think a big part of it is from listening to sports radio, I think the NCAA does not like Jim Harbaugh. I think there's a beef there. And I think If this was a different coach, I think they wouldn't care. So we'll see. It is curious to see though where will Jim Harbaugh be with the team next year, or will he move on to the NFL?
Well,
I mean,
just
he
like every
accomplished his
year,
big goal.
they just like every year they talk about it. He's recruited by this NFL team or that, and
But
he is.
The difference with this year is he hired an agent. In past years, he didn't have an agent, so he does have an agent representing him now to kind of do behind the scenes stuff. So we'll see. What does that mean? Or maybe he just hired the agent to give himself more negotiating power to stay at Michigan, even.
Well, they're talking about big money there, and the thing I've always said is he's already made millions as a coach in the NFL and now with the University of Michigan. I don't think it's so much about the money as legacy, and to have true legacy, I think he'd do better staying at U of M than going anywhere else.
Although I think he does want that Super Bowl. He lost to his brother, so I think there is sibling rivalry here. So he was just saying actually recently, he said he feels like he can sit at the big person table now because his dad won a national championship and his brother won a Super Bowl. So he was the only one without. Now he could be the one to come to the table with both.
Could be, but it depends who he's with. There's talk of him going to Washington, which they have a new owner, and the new owner's talking about changing him back over to the Redskins. But as a commander,
there's actually a lawsuit by the Native Americans to change it back to Redskins.
Yes, it's not getting as much traction in the media, but it is out there.
Yeah, it doesn't fit the narrative. No. Only when white women under 40 are offended does it get front page news. So when they were offended on behalf of Indians, it was fine. But when Indians don't want it, that gets ignored.
Yeah. So, but of course, the one thing about Michigan winning was all the couch fires in Ann Arbor. I cannot believe how many of the Michigan State fans were so excited that Michigan won a national championship. They came down to Ann Arbor and set couch fires.
Yes.
Because that's something that never really happened before. So,
yeah, I can speak firsthand. I went to U of M for a year and a half before I transferred out because I decided to go to trying for an art degree. And the specifically, I was trying for computer animation at the time, and only Grand Valley State University had a program for that. So I transferred out. But while I was at U of M, I can tell you, they do stupid stuff there too. Just the Notre Dame versus U of M game, people were out. Here's what went out in that morning. Everybody saying, okay, if we win, we're going out to Main Street and rioting. If we lose, we're going to go out to Main Street and riot. It doesn't matter what the outcome is. It was an excuse to be fool going out there just to observe. I did not take part. We kind of stood far in the side to see, and people were acting like morons. And the police had to come and launch tear gas into everybody to disperse them. People do stupid things. There was as the house is burning. Thankfully, no one got hurt. So it becomes funny because no one got hurt. All these girls who were renting that house, they're on the side crying. And meanwhile, what does all the students do? They're blaring, burning down the house out of speakers in the dorm and throwing marshmallows at the house. So college is a time to be stupid.
Unfortunately, there's a lot of that. So
there's a lot of that. And, it's the same thing. People act stupid. It doesn't matter if you're at MSU, U of M, Western, wherever. It's all the same crap. It's kids being kids.
Yeah, but sometimes they need to be smacked down a little bit too. So
it is what it is. But
I was going to Eastern at the time. Yeah, I was going to Eastern at the time. All that was going on in the early '90s, and I was around. I was always in Ann Arbor. Because we'd always go hang around Southview and all that stuff. And but yeah, it's I was there for when they used to do all kinds of crazy stuff, the Naked Mile, things like that. So
I remember that.
Yep.
So I did not partake because I don't think that's needed, but I was on the Michigan crew team, the rowing team there, and that Naked Mile was actually started by the crew team years earlier, prior to me. Don't know why. I don't know why that became a thing, but just crazy.
Well, it was just the guys running at first. It was the Naked Mile.
Yeah, that became everybody.
And then everybody, and then all the women were going, I ran the Naked Mile and I was sexually, verbally assaulted. I'm like, what do you expect? If you walk outside naked as a woman, someone's gonna say something. Yeah.
You walk out naked as anybody, men
Yeah.
or women. People, you are putting yourself. You're going into public areas. People will take
Yep.
pictures. They will video. They will
But they had to
make
pass a
comments,
law banning it, and then of course U of M banned
which
it
no one
as
listened to. At least
yeah.
back then.
Well, they did after they became a law. It was the initially was the U of M saying don't do it, don't do it. Then it was like they made it an actual university
Well,
trying to make
it
a
was a
rule.
law
So
when I was there because they posted notices. This will put you on the sex offenders list. They would warn everyone. Everyone did it anyways. And as far as I know, at least the year I was there,
yeah, well, that was the
no one
early
got
part. So.
arrested. Yeah, but they're definitely probably strict now.
Yeah, no, it was later '90s is when they stopped it. So and then it was like in the mid 2000s when they did an American Pie presents the Naked Mile, which is not at U of M, I don't believe, but it was definitely a thing on that. But
Yeah.
the original Naked Mile event, yeah, here we go. Started in 1986. So
okay, so I was there in 91.
Yeah, it continued till the early 2000s, but really it was when they started really cracking down and saying, hey, and it was later in the 90s is when they really started that. You know, you could end up in the sex offender list, and then of course people were getting drunk and it's crazy, and then stuff like that. So it was the Ann Arbor Police Department that took action and basically shut it down around 2002, 2003. So, but you know, basically I think they did one more after that. And it was it, but yeah, it got to the point now, and then of course at that point PC was in full effect at all the colleges. So, you know, at that point everybody was like, no, politically correct.
Which is funny because this younger generation thinks they're so free and liberal and open-minded, and that everyone older than them are these fuddy-duddies. The generations before them did way more.
Well, we just didn't have the social media and the OnlyFans to throw it out there.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
So that's why you get all these girls turning 18 and I got an OnlyFans. Okay, so I'm gonna have to set my own OnlyFans up. Doesn't mean I'm gonna have any nudity on there, but the original concept was not about porn, but porn took it over.
That's true. Actually, yeah, and there's actually a lot of legitimate people on OnlyFans.
There's a lot of comedians that use it. Yeah, a lot of comedians use it.
So, unfortunately, now, if you were using it for legitimate things and say you were on OnlyFans, everyone has a complete image of what you're doing, even though it's completely wrong.
Well, if you get enough of a name before I say I'm launching an OnlyFans, subscribe now for $10 a month to get like 1 million subscribers, and you pop up there and go, "Hi, this is all you're ever gonna see." right here. Nothing else. Yeah. No feet pics, no nothing. So, hey, join us next week. We'll be back. I'll be here. And
we gotta give a shout out to the Lions too. So Michigan won the national, and Lions are in the playoffs for first time Sunday for 26 years.
Sunday night. No, they were 2014. They made the playoffs, but this is the first time they won the division in 30 years.
Okay, there we go.
And they're playing the Rams. So all you Stafford lovers that are still living here in Michigan that think Stafford's gonna come and kick their butt, I really hope they just smash his face into the ground because as much as everybody wants to say, this Hall of Fame quarterback, he has one Super Bowl. And if you look at all the years with the Lions, you go and look at all his numbers were usually first half, and they shut him down in the second half. And that's why he couldn't win. And he had great players, but he didn't know how to handle it.
Yeah, I think we're going to win. I think the home field advantage will be huge, I think. But it's not going to be an easy game for sure.
No.
It definitely won't. But I do believe we're going to win. This is – everyone who knows me knows I've been very SOL about a lot of things. But around game 3 or 4 of this year is where I really started saying, this is not the same old Lions. The attitude is different. The willingness, even when it looks like you might be losing, you still fight and push through. You could see a cultural change with the team. And even if they lose, it's not SOL. It's not same old Lions. Dan Campbell has done a phenomenal job with this team. I do agree with some people who think maybe sometimes he takes a little bit more risks than he should. But you know what? That's the essence of who he is. And
but there is no reward.
Why the players love him. Yeah, and the players love him.
Yeah. Well, he thinks he works with all the players. I've said this since well before last year even, but really last year they started off as what looked like same old Lions losing the first several games. But I kept saying, no, watch this. This team's there. It's clicking. It had pieces there he's putting, and then all of a sudden it clicked. And the last half of the season, they basically did as well as some of these teams that are getting into the playoffs this year.
Well, if you look at the last season and a half record, they're phenomenal.
Yes.
The last half combined with this season, they may be the best record in NFL for a season and a half.
Yeah. And they got good players, people that want to play. They want to play. They want to win. And they're not just there to collect a paycheck like it felt through the years with Stafford. I know we had other problems with coaches and the owners and things like that. That's been there for a long time. But when it came to the players, you know, I mean, look at some of the players that said, "Oh, I got my numbers. I'm gonna retire. I'm gonna go. I'll make a Hall of Fame because I got numbers." But at the same time, they retired because they were tired of the culture. And people would say, "Well, see, that's why Stafford didn't win." No, Stafford was part of the problem with the culture because all the years watching him with the Lions, he still does with the Rams. Things go wrong, he's on the sideline pouting.
Yeah.
I watch things go wrong with Goff, and he's on the sideline looking at his tablet trying to figure out what's wrong.
Yeah. Stafford's a nice guy. He's a good person. Yeah. However, is he a good leader? And quarterback is a leadership role. And I don't think he has that. See, I think with the Rams, I think they had other people on the team who were in the leadership position. So it was okay with Stafford. He fit fine with their system because they weren't relying on him to lead. Whereas I think Goff is a far better leader. It's amazing seeing that. And a shout out to, the owner's name now.
Well, it's the for the Lions. It's she's a Ford. It's the daughter that took over. But she came in and said, "I'm not going to play the same game before." Yeah, and she sat down with Campbell and said, "Let's build this."
Yeah, culture comes from the top down, and she allowed the environment to exist for Dan Campbell to thrive. Yes. And so you got to give a big shout out to her because prior, the Ford family was just a curse to the team.
Her parents that ran the team, and her father passed away, William Clay Ford III. But when he passed away, and then the mother took over, they ran the same way, like, "Oh, we just love these kids," and blah blah blah. They weren't running it like a business; they were running it like oh, this is just family, you know, it's just something.
And they were too loyal, and she got ruthless. She cut some people that at the time people weren't happy with. Who was the coach before Campbell? Anyways, when he got cut, people weren't happy with that.
Oh, Matt Patricia.
Oh, I'm sorry, not that one. The one before him.
Let's see here. Because Patricia did not do a good job, and he's been with the Patriots not doing a good job. Let's see here.
I know the name.
Wayne Fonts goes way back, so that's not him. Caldwell
was the one. When they let him go.
Yeah,
he was a mediocre coach.
Yeah, they had actually it was Jim Caldwell, was 2014 to 17, and then Matt Patricia came in, and it was just building upon this losing environment that really, even before that, Jim Schwartz and Rod Marinelli kind of helped bring that up. And during that earlier time in the early 2000s, you had a GM that was, you know, their favorite, and he just was not good. I mean, really, the coaches they've had between Mariucci, Morningweg, Moeller, and all this stuff, really just never. They basically just kind of fell in with the Fords and just kind of were complacent.
And that was the problem. Yeah, even like Marinelli, he was a legendary coach at the time. It was a graveyard once he came here. But
yeah, I mean, starting with
culture was too embedded. The culture of mediocrity was too embedded. Yeah. But Campbell and the new Ford owner, I'm forgetting her name. Anyways, they combined. They changed the culture, and that's critical.
Yeah, let me look her up real quick. She's
she has a hyphenated last name.
Because she's got Ford something else. Sheila Ford Hamp is her name.
There it is, Sheila.
And she's smart, but you know what? She was a college athlete.
Yep.
Her parents are, Martha Firestone Ford and then William Clay Ford Sr. Yep. So it's one of those things where she came in with a completely different look at it, and I think it was smart that it was her versus her brother that ran Ford.
Yeah.
To come in because she has that ability to look at it from a sports complex. That she was like I said, she went to Yale University, Boston University.
She's competitive.
She's got to teach thing, but she also competed during those times as a college athlete, so she understands that.
Yep. She has that fire in her.
And I said for years, I kept saying they need to fire from the top down, which was the owners need to go because they did not care. But real quick before we go, if you go online, find it somewhere. I've seen a bunch of pop on Facebook. The numbers between Stafford and Goff are very similar.
Oh yeah.
Since they've come to their respective teams in
Yep.
the last couple of years. So people that try to act like Goff is not as good as Stafford, he's got same numbers.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
it's like
It will definitely be a curious game to
yeah.
see. It's not going to be handed to us, but
Nope.
if our players are firing, if they're working as a team and they're not making stupid penalties, we should win.
Yeah. And really, last several games have been solid. They should have won that Dallas game, but it was definitely. It really feels like the NFL with a narrative was pushing that. So
Yeah, that whole thing was.
well, there's even people that aren't Lions fans that are
But you
saying
know
the
what?
same
It
thing.
may be a blessing that happened because I sometimes when you do too well,
Yeah.
you can go into the playoffs to be overconfident. I think that lit a fire in the Lions to say we have to win on our terms. We can't let it be a 1-point game where a simple call ruins it. So it might have been a blessing to light a fire as we enter into the playoffs.
I think it did, and you can see it
Yeah.
within Campbell and the players. They were not
Yeah.
happy with that,
I feel
and
like that.
but they moved on and came out and playing Vikings, and they're not going to blow out teams by like 50 points every time, but they came out played solid ball against the Vikings, and they did
Exactly.
very well. So,
Yep. Good stuff.
all right, hey, we'll see you all next week.
Take care.